So, what we're about to look at is a game against an opponent we had just met two previous times. From those couple of games, we learned exactly who he was because those games were identical in terms of his gameplay. Now, he is a random player. So, the first two games we did Wisp Scout. This game was on Echo Isles, so we knew it was going to come fast and heavy in terms of his gameplay, which is early harass, very quickly to 40 food, and then he's all inning. I guess the main reason that we didn't Wisp Scout, other than what we just alluded to, is the fact that not just the 60 gold, but really perhaps the 100-ish, 120-ish lumber that we needed. Because in this game, what we were going to do is go to Ancients of War and just basically stick to tier 1 as long as we could and eventually get up to those mountain giants and dryads. So we felt like everything was going good up into getting to that 40 food mark, and then it all turned to shoo, you know what. So we're going to listen to Grubby, hopefully gain some things that we can then implement into our own gameplay moving forward, and GL, HF, all night.
All right, very good explanation. Thanks for the explanation. So you're expecting an early attack, and for this reason you feel like scouting is not important, because you figure you have to prepare for an attack anyway. I guess that's the first thing that I will say sounds logical, but actually doesn't work out that logically in any way. Because different races have different approaches, and a general sense of fear about an incoming attack cannot be utilized to have a one-size-fits-all approach of defense. The safest thing, let's say if you know that there's going to be the Grim Reaper, and he's going to come for you for $100,000. And it could happen anywhere from when you're 5 years old. It was predestined at your birth. It could happen when you're 5, 10, 15, 20, 35, 40, whatever. And your goal is to get 100K, preferably in a legit way. Right? It's no good to just start saving up $1, $2 when you're 7 years old, because it's peanuts. You're standing here and defending, but you wouldn't be ready for the 40-year-old $100,000 claim. Right? So it's better to first invest it, grow that money, and then get enough money by the time that you get to 40 years old, and then you can live, which is great. That's kind of the issue that I see here. You have a general approach of just standing in your base thinking, well, he might attack. But if he attacks you at 4 minutes, that's not the same as when he attacks you at 2 minutes and 40. And everything needs a different approach. Sometimes you need to invest in order to earn. And that's what we're not doing here, right? So I've been watching some of your games, DUMBALLA, and thanks for the replay submission. I've been watching some of your games, and you have a number of habits. And you are a very habitual person in general, I feel like, which is absolutely a strength. It can become a weakness, though, if you have habits that are really rote repetition now, but they actually don't serve a purpose. You're still going to keep doing them, and it doesn't actually send you any further along improving or winning the game. There are a number of economical problems here. If I were to say you need 14 workers, which you have now, then the best, most efficient way possible to get 14 workers would be to produce them non-stop. If you have little gaps in between, but you're still going to 14, you have earned less resources along the way, which will make you exponentially earn less resources with your final destination. Right? The only reason you ever want to have any worker stop in an RTS is by preparing for specific timings that are coming. For example, if I want 14 workers, but I'm generally going to get attacked around 12 workers, then it's okay to delay my final 2 workers to get 1 crucial extra archer so that I can defend against a known attack, and then make the final 2 workers afterwards. That would be a good thing to do, and that's really the only reason you ever want to have a stop in your normal ideal worker count. But you never know when that attack is going to come if you don't scout for it. And so it's still important to scout, to start to try to learn to recognize when an attack is coming. You were right though. He is aggressive and he's attacking you once again. Right? So you have some responses. You defend the attack, but it's not very clean. I see your APM is 140. This was not a great defense so far, and I feel like you just have a lot of habits. You're actually able to be better than this because you have the speed and you've watched the games, but you're doing things that are available. I have a wisp, therefore I detonate it. I have a mana burn, therefore I mana burn. I have an H4, therefore I will produce from it. And it's important to have a plan. Then make sure you have enough resources for the plan, and then execute it. So you actually start with your final result. What is your final result when you're playing against Jacket Off? Which is an interesting name, by the way. What is your final plan of how to win? If he is one of the 4 races. Is it winning with an expansion? Is it winning in his base? Or is it winning out in the open? This question must always be answered. Just surviving an attack rarely ever leads to a victory. And that seems to be what you're doing right now. And that is why you're playing without direction, that you really can't ever win against this player. There are very few players that lose while attacking. There's only one hacker man that I can think of that always loses while attacking. Everyone else, when they see it's not working, they fall back. So the only thing you can do is to delay your execution. You're so right, my only thought was survive. If I survive, I win. So that's not true, right? Because if he attacks you with 6 fiends and he falls back and he actually just like, well, I'm gonna unsummon my crypt, my shop, my altar, and I go for 2 boneyard worms. You wouldn't be punishing him for that because you don't know. I'm gonna pull this replay back for a bit to mention a number of small things. So first of all, 4 wisps in gold, 1 in altar. That's the build. No exceptions. No double wisp go-go. And the reason is simple. Your Moonwell is finished by the time your altar isn't. It's literally not doing anything. And while that may seem like a small thing, it really adds up. It could cost you 5 gold or 10 gold. 1 wisp gives you 2 gold per second in your gold mine. So by pulling that wisp for a period of 10 seconds, which is how long it takes a Tree of Life to produce 1 wisp, that actually costs you 20 gold. The best build is 4 gold, 1 in altar, and then when your wisp is 80% done, to have your second Moonwell built. That means you pull it out, the wisp, when it's 50% done. 5 times 2 gains you 10 gold. So your build of an early Moonwell costs you 10 gold versus the standard build. Okay, then you put 1 wisp on lumber. You put 2-3 wisps on lumber by the time you fill up your gold mine. Wisps take 10 seconds, so if you put 2 wisps on lumber before the gold mine, how much does that cost you in gold? 20 seconds of production time of a wisp that is not being mined. Times 2 is 40. So you're already 50 gold down from where you should be. You mentioned not wanting to scout because it costs 60 gold and 100 lumber. True, but it makes you better decisions. And this also costs you 50 gold already. So the first thing you would like to do is to clean up your build order. This can be done against AI. And just go to any of my Night Elf games. Watch closely the timing that everything finishes. And then try to go with that. Next is your Ancient of War position. Night Elf has a resource of Moonwell Juice. You want to use it as little as possible in unthreatening moments of the game. It requires Ancient of War creeping. Now I understand you may feel like Ancient of War creeping is too taxing. I'm gonna pause it for a sec. Even if you don't Ancient of War creep and you want to build it here for defense, that's fine. You're playing a lesser version of Night Elf, but that's fine at this level. But I will tell you what to do next then. First of all, you don't have to group all your wisps. You saw what happened when you got attacked. You pulled all of your wisps and you did things with it. Stop grouping your wisps for now. It's almost never necessary to do it. Or group them but never click it. And I think it's too hard to resist the temptation to pull them all Actually, it's a good habit to do, but you're misusing it. So let's keep grouping it, but don't group them all when you're building a moonwell. Take one wisp and build a moonwell when you have 40 lumber. Do not queue up for another multiplayer game until you build your moonwell at 40 lumber. If it's at 45, it's too late. If it's at 55, it's too late. If it's at 70, it's too late. This is... I have seen you do this a few times, and it's because you still use shift command with a wisp. So you're selecting all your wisps, you shift command, and whenever the nearest wisp is done mining lumber, that's when you build the moonwell. So you do 0 if that's your group, and then you say shift build moonwell. So the wisp finishes its lumber mining command, and it can take like 8 seconds. That's too long. All right. So let's say you stop shift clicking, okay, but still be imbibed with a sense of urgency of building that moonwell at 40 lumber. No later than that. 40 lumber. Okay. Next, your archer finishes. Your Ancient of War was also a bit early. If you're not going to Ancient of War creep, you don't need that archer early, because what is it really doing? It's just standing there. So first go altar, next is moonwell, 5 in gold, then Ancient of War, then lumber. Very simple and fluent. Okay, next, you're going to pick up evasion, and you're just going to start creeping with evasion and demon. None of this standing still stuff. Never again. You're either going to go to his base, or you're defending an active threat, or you're creeping with evasion. Even if you don't Ancient of War creep, which is not optimal, but it's still fine, you're going to evasion creep. Immediately. You'll never ever stand still again. That's never the right play. I'd rather you try to creep the red dragon level 10 immediately, find that it doesn't work, than to do nothing, because nothing always loses. Nice killing the sheep though, that was good. So you start on the 131 with mana burn. Honestly, that's fine as well, but in the time you've been out, you could have evasion crept both camps and get mana burn second. The final note I would like to say, if wisp scouting is too busy for you, take a wisp, click it in his main, then shift click it on this tree right here. That's it. And then later you can always take a look at the layout of his base. It adds a lot of comfort. Next, worker count. You actually want 15 as Night Elf, not 14. Just go for 15. That means 5 in gold and 10 on lumber. 1 in scout and 9 at home. 15 is a good count.
Our warriors have
14 is also okay, but it gives you less buffer for losses. Okay, so now you're getting the second camp, which also proves you would have had mana burn for the attack. We take a quick look without Fog of War. He went for level 2. Claws of attack +5. He did the 2 green camps and then he came. That's fine. Having a few wisps around the map would alert you to an attack, but let's say we don't add too much on your plate right now and we say, okay, you don't know that you're going to get attacked. I'm going to give you a habit to do. First of all, take off that auto replenish on Moonwell. Sometimes your demon has 0 mana, but you don't want him to guzzle up all your Moonwells. The auto replenish is something you should almost never use, the right click on the thing. It's a noob thing to do. Okay, pause. Anytime you get surprised, here's a rule. If you get surprised by a fight, the first thing you do, pull back immediately. No matter what. Gives you time to think and reposition. It's almost never correct to run into a fight when you are surprised. So when you do that, you have a time to think. You calmly analyze it and you see half summons, half units. You pull 1 wisp. Hop, you look at the nearest wisp. Okay, I'm like this. I'm like, oh, there's an attack. I pull up here. I go to the center of my base. I'm like, and then where's my wisp? I take this wisp. I move it towards him. I detonate on the beetles. And if that doesn't work because he kills it, I take a second wisp and I detonate it on him. None of this. And I'm trying to see what you have selected right now. It's all your wisps. So you did the right thing by saying, hey, I need wisp to counter summons. But you did the wrong thing by not prefacing that with the move back command. And that's a rule for Warcraft 3 in general. Anytime you're doing anything in your base, first give your army a movement command across the map where you want to go next. Needs a bit of planning, But again, it doesn't matter if you're wrong. Just try to get used of never having idle time. So you just finish this camp, you know you need a moonwell. You go first to the mercenary camp or the marketplace, and then you build the moonwell, and then you look at your army again. Alright, you only need one detonate. That's it. And after you detonate it, he has no mana. Then, of course, you should not mana burn the crit lord. Now, assuming you did the other things here a little bit more correctly, let's talk about battle micro. You want to kill ghouls, then fiends, then hero, in that order. But just becoming really conscious of that fact, we can handle these situations better. This is something that we try to figure out before games start. Anytime I'm against undead, I kill ghouls first, then fiends, then heroes. Never in the other order. Try not to do hero focus, because those are most well protected. They have the highest armor and the best armor class. So you waste the most damage. I'm not even talking about normal versus fiend medium armor yet. Okay, now let's talk about strategy. You have a lot of huntresses and you made him TP. Best thing you can do when someone is confirmed home, is it A, attacking them, he's confirmed at home. Is it B, expanding, he has no TP. Or is it C, teching, you've got no money to tech. At the moment you've got a lot of units. If you have a lot of units and you have more than the opponent, or you think so, you can expand. You can then make a lot of weak units. You also have the upgrades. So your low tier units are upgraded. You also have these upgrades, which means you don't really have an interest in going for lower tech because those are not upgraded. You already invested. As much as I don't like double Instant of War against random, if you have this, you should expand. There's no way to add value to this anymore by teching. Because what are you gonna get? You already upgraded your Hunt's archers. So you tech, you have 1/1 upgrades, and you go to his base. And this is what I call junk time. He has junk time because he TP'd out of your base after spending the whole map walking to your base. He did get a lot of wisps, let's not forget. But he had to do the walk of shame, right? He attacked then TP'd. By you going to his base, you give him the exact same junk time that he spent walking to your base. Ideally, you want to find things to do in your area. Just like you want to buy homegrown potatoes rather than imported, because it cuts down on environmental stress. You also want to find things to do near you. It is more efficient rather than traveling across the map. Because you have no information with wisp scouting, you actually don't know whether this attack was good or not. You kill the shop and made him come back. What did he do while you walked to his base? He crept his natural. He's now level 3. He didn't even need to use a TP to come to you. Now you make the walk of shame home. You can't actually creep the marketplace because he's liable to creep check you. He knows where you are. He knows which direction you left in. So it's actually a really weak play in general to attack someone in their main base if you have no information. It's the best chance to do something inefficient because they know where you're leaving. They now have an idea of where you are. And when you're attacking their base blind, you don't know where they are. So clear your natural, which gives you options to expand. Use a wisp scout so that you don't spend 30 food to scout, where 1 food suffices. Get the expansion, then get information about what they're doing next. If it's air, archers. If it's ground, huntress, I suppose, in this situation. But to go all the way back to the beginning as we roll the rest of this replay, when you know you're going to get attacked by someone aggressive, start thinking like a ninja. Use your environment for you and against him. Build your Ancient of War here. Your Moonwell's here. And position your demon here. And your archers here.
Upgrade finished.
Or build your Ancient of War here. And run circles around your Ancient of War when you get attacked. By building your Ancient of Wars against the forest, you have the least possibility to maneuver around it and to create a meat grinder of sorts for someone to walk through and around. Because you walk up here, you're stuck. And you can't
Our
even walk
warriors
above
have
it.
engaged
If
the
you walk
enemy.
past here, like there's no reason for him to chase. But walk around an Aged of War in a central position, you get archer shots on him. Okay, here's the next attack. It's actually not the worst to get attacked by Necro Fiend if you use Wisps well, which means 2 detonates max. That was 3. You did pull back this time, as you were surprised by an attack. That's good. And I recommend you quickly put your Wisps on Control Group 2 when you know they're going to be an army unit, so that you can start into the fight. You're focusing Necros, and normally Wisps should take care of Necros, so you're focusing Fiends is the best. Try not to use all your Wisps immediately. Of course, you're also not producing units right now, you're in total panic mode, and something as simple as a Wisp standing sentinel here can just give you that 5-second warning about when you're going to get attacked. So try to make it a habit to have Wisps on major alleyways towards your base. Never attack the Crypt Lord, remember. Making it night is something you could have done when you came back from his main base. You did right click and forget on his Crypt Lord with your hunts. And you know, this fight was winnable. I would have won this fight. It was winnable. You bring in your Wisps, you do 1 or 2 detonates on the front line.
Light my power.
And then you go in with all your Huntresses on the Fiends.
Our
You
champion
save the
has
next
fallen.
3 Wisps to kill summons. You right click all the Fiends, you win this fight. That's GG. So I just want to quickly show you how I would have built if I know I'm against an aggressive player. I'm gonna play roughly similar to you, but with some of the improvements we talked about. And if you have the will to do it, I recommend you to start up a game yourself as well, DUMBALLA. Maybe now or maybe right after this, as you wish. Probably better right after. I'm Orc. Just play Orc, lol. Okay. Remember, 4 Wisps on gold, 1 in altar immediately. Start new Wisps. Okay, where do we want the altar? We keep getting attacked. We're gonna use the altar as a wall. Okay. When Wisp is 50%, we pull a Wisp out of the gold mine and we make a Moonwell. We send everything next to gold. Now, let's say we don't feel up to Ancient of War creeping yet, right? And we want to keep the build really simple. Just put everything in gold. First of all, we maximize gold. That's great. Especially since you like Huntresses, right? So now we're going to think, okay, if he attacks around here and around here, where do I want my Ancient of War to be? It can be in front so that it slaps everything that comes in. But it can also be behind so that it can be the guard to my fallback point. If I make a wall and I stand behind it with archers, then Ancient of War is my chaperone. Everything next to lumber, we're gonna make Demon Hunter. And because we don't have the APM to properly scout, we right click in the middle of his place, hold down shift, click it here, and that's that. Okay. Now I'm gonna give you a cheated location of a Wisp as well. That's really useful specifically on Echo Isles. Look, 30 lumber. Remember, make
More lumber is required.
Moonwell at 40. No later than that. Now we're gonna put the next Wisp here. We're gonna put it right here. This is a cheated Wisp location that cannot be gotten to by most units.
Your building is complete.
Now we make the archer. I made it at 45, I know. Thanks for noticing, chat. We make 1 more Wisp to go over 20 foot. So we take a quick look while we're waiting for everything. And now we're gonna go evasion first with our archer, which you see comes out just on time without making it that early. We look at his base, we see, okay, crypt, cigarette, altar. Don't really know what it means. I'm creeping now, I'm shift clicking all the units, right? I'm just gonna take my Wisp one more time, send it here, and then put it right here. We have 7 wisps here. We go to 14 wisps, which is actually just fine. Okay, we finish this and we
More
tech.
lumber is required.
Right? Even though we think we're gonna get attacked early, we don't rely on cheesy mass huntresses builds to defend it. We just tech at a nice time and we keep making archers.
Insufficient gold.
We creep with evasion and tank with demon because he has more armor. Don't tank with archers, that costs you juice. This wisp and this wisp will reveal if you get attacked. Pick up the circlet. Okay, we have a bunch of archers, that's our defense. And this is our fallback point, you see? We have enough space to maneuver and to defend our moonwells with archer shots. Okay, now we start thinking, okay, we haven't been attacked yet. What if we don't get attacked? I take this wisp, I send it to his gold mine, and I put it back here. Shift click. And I've got my 5th archer coming. Let's make another moonwell.
Insufficient gold.
And you see, I'm kind of blind to what he's doing, but I'm still developing myself.
I stand ready. On your
Still creeping, still getting items. And you know what? I miss an attack on my base. I TP, that's fine. You don't need to stand in your base to defend. Okay, 200 gold. I make my hunter's hall. And don't build shop here. In order to reach it, you need to endanger yourself. We just keep creeping. We have 5 archers. We start saving up. We make our shop.
Our warriors have engaged the enemy. Your building is ready.
Okay. We get level 3. And now we just send our archers. No, that's too risky.
Fair enough.
We keep our archers here. We go get boots of speed.
Waiting on you.
And we go home to heal.
Waiting on you. Your move. Was the way done? I'm not. Waiting on you.
We're gonna go for a Tyrant hero.
Upgrade finished. Your building is complete.
We'll make 1 or 2 wisps now. We'll go for 1 lore.
On your mark. Your move.
We go get Staff of Preservation. Then we're gonna go for a Tyrant hero. Ultra Vision.
Your building is complete. Right.
Send Wisp into his main, see what's going on. He's natural.
On your mark.
I'm a bit low on gold. The boots kind of cost a lot.
Our warriors have engaged the enemy. Research finished. Waiting on
Yeah, I think maybe you shouldn't buy boots. Lol. Let's just imagine I still had money for a hero.
you. Your move. All
4 archers or no boots.
waiting on you. Done.
Oh, this is a painful wait.
Insufficient research finished.
So now actually I think the best thing to do, if we knew he's near his home, is still just to creep. We don't actually need to attack him to win at this time. Definitely not blindly.
Your
So we just keep creeping. But if we meet him now, we're gonna make him pay for it with mana burn. Make a Dryad. Let's sell the boots, pretend it never happened. We're gonna sell whatever comes out of here. Okay, now we can go to tier 3.
Our warriors have engaged.
Got the money. I actually like to give TP and staff to Naga.
Ah, the great
Then you can
outdoors.
Are we being
TP
invaded?
your tank home. Now it's time to put this here for fiend attacks and make our second lore here.
Is it time?
The time has come. My blade
Our
burns.
warriors have engaged.
Let the Naga solo creep this.
Ah, the great outdoors.
Our warriors have engaged.
Now we get claw upgrade. And how we're playing now, we can pretty much play against every undead. There's never any need for the thing you were doing with mass huntresses. It's just not a good build. Now we rally our lords at home because we don't want our bears to get caught.
Grow anxious to act.
Research finished.
I would recommend you to really try playing exactly as I'm playing right now, DUMBALLA, except for the boots. Try to reproduce the layout roughly. It may not be the best, but it's not the worst, that's for sure. The flow, 5 archers, and start trying to internalize these numbers, these amounts. 5 archers, 2 dryads, then bears. Nothing wrong with that.
The sleeper has awakened.
We now have 50 food. Also very important against undead. Upgrades. Start making attack upgrade now.
Unmarked sailor.
My blade tests.
Is it time? In a solid
What is nature's call?
Okay, we make 1 moonwell to go over.
Our
In case
warriors
we
have
need it.
engaged the enemy.
I will not be trifled. I grow
Upgrade
anxious to
finished.
act.
And then I wonder,
Is it time?
I'm a bit low on lumber. I think maybe I should have had 2 more wisps, 1 less archer. At tier 2, if you remember, I bought boots and I had my 5th archer. I think 4 archers maybe, no boots, and then 2 extra wisps. Because I think I made 1 or 2 wisps and I needed to make like 3 or 4.
What is nature's call?
Will shall be done.
Now we get master training. I like to group all my range together and my bears together. But bears by themselves.
I will not be trifled.
Research finished.
Okay.
By your command.
Let's say I get creep check now, I TP out, right?
We must act. My strength is yours.
On your mark.
Your building is
My
complete.
blade tests. I'm
Your
awake.
will
I'm
shall
awake.
be done.
My strength
We're gonna
is
sell
yours.
some stuff.
We must act.
Are we being
We're
invaded?
gonna get Orb of Venom and a healing potion.
Our time is
Research
yours.
finished.
I'm awake. I'm
We'll
awake.
put the invul on the demon and the healing potion on the Naga.
My strength is yours. Where shall I strike?
Okay,
Of course.
now we go. We put a wisp on our expansion, and I think what I'm showing you now is that there's a big emphasis on creeping and defense.
I'm awake.
There's a big emphasis on creeping and defense and developing yourself and your upgrades. We're getting 1-1 now for the bears. And then have the option to expand and do it while you're attacking.
I'm awake. I'm awake.
If you have TP. If you have no TP, don't expand, just go all in.
My strength is yours.
He's what the bro?
Warriors have engaged the enemy.
BMing me.
Where shall
AI.
Our time is short.
What is nature's call? Are we being invaded? Our warriors
Some extra
have
wisps. Lol. But yeah, that's it. Hope it was useful. And if you have another replay you would like to submit next time, where you've tried to implement some of the things I've shown, I'll be very happy to look at it again. Thanks for sending in a replay, DUMBALLA. If someone is watching is human or undead, I'd still be very happy to analyze your game as well.